The convergence chamber hummed with the energy of 1,000 worlds. Holographic displays flickered across obsidian walls, each showing a different species' greatest hunter. The Crithani had sent their apex predator, a creature with 16 eyes and venom that could dissolve titanium. The Eluvians presented their champion, a being of pure crystalline thought that could predict its prey's movements before they occurred. The assembled delegates nodded in approval, their various appendages, tendrils, and energy fields gesturing with satisfaction. Then Earth's representative materialized. Orla stood in the teleportation circle, her school backpack still slung over one shoulder, mascara smudged under red-rimmed eyes, and her phone clutched in one white-knuckled hand. She blinked at the assembled alien dignitaries, took in the massive chamber that seemed to stretch into infinity, and let out a long, shuddering breath. "You've got to be kidding me," she muttered. The galactic arbiter, a floating mass of luminescent gas that spoke through quantum fluctuations, addressed her with what might have been confusion. "Human, you are Earth's greatest hunter." Orla looked down at her ripped jeans and the coffee stain on her hoodie from this morning's disaster. "I'm having the worst day of my entire life," she said, her voice cracking. "My boyfriend just broke up with me via text. I failed my chemistry exam. My mom found out I lied about where I was last weekend, and now where even am I?" "The trial of apex predators," announced a Velconian delegate, its chitinous plates rattling with displeasure. "Each species sends their most lethal hunter to track and eliminate the Dreadmma, a creature that has ravaged 17 systems." "You are Earth's choice?" "There's been a mistake," Orla said, pulling out her phone and squinting at the screen. "I need to call. Why don't I have service? Is there Wi-Fi here?" The gathered aliens exchanged what could only be described as disappointed glances across the vast gulf of xenobiology. Lewis materialized next, stumbling through the portal with his gaming headset still around his neck and an energy drink in his hand. He looked around the chamber, then at Orla, then back at the assembled alien species. "Orla, what the hell?" "I was in the middle of a raid." He stopped, finally processing the enormity of their situation. "Are those actual aliens? 2 humans?" The Arbiter's confusion rippled through the translation matrix. "We requested Earth's apex predator." "Yeah, well, you got 2 teenagers having a garbage Tuesday," Orla snapped, and something in her voice made several of the more psychically sensitive species recoil. There was an edge to it, something raw and unpredictable. The trial began whether they were ready or not. The Dreadmma was released into the hunting grounds, a massive biodome that replicated the creature's native environment. It was a thing of nightmares, 30 meters of scaled fury, with cognitive abilities that let it set traps and emotional telepathy that could sense fear and use it to track prey. It had killed hundreds of the galaxy's best hunters. The other species deployed immediately with practiced precision. The Crithani apex predator moved like liquid death through the artificial jungle. The Eluvian thought form became invisible, perceiving possibilities. The Velconian hunter activated camouflage that bent light itself. Orla and Lewis stood at the entrance to the dome. "This is insane," Lewis said. "We're going to die." "Probably," Orla agreed. She set down her backpack and started going through it with methodical intensity. "But you know what? I'm so angry right now that I actually don't care. That's not a great survival strategy." "Lewis." I had to sit through 45 minutes of Marcus explaining why he needed space to find himself while sitting next to Brittany Parker. I watched my GPA tank because I couldn't focus on balancing equations. My mom called me irresponsible, selfish, and immature before breakfast. A giant murder lizard is actually the least of my problems right now. She pulled out a half-empty bottle of acetone nail polish remover, a lighter, a can of deodorant spray, and her cracked phone screen protector. Lewis watched her arrange these items with the focused intensity of someone who had given up on sanity and chosen action. "What are you doing?" "Humanity doesn't have venom or telepathy or crystalline prediction matrices," Orla said, her voice steadying into something cold and calculating. "But we have spite, and improvisation, and the ability to make terrible decisions while running on zero sleep and pure caffeinated rage." The Dreadmma found the other hunters first. The Crithani's venom proved useless against its armored hide. The Eluvian's predictions failed because the creature's telepathic abilities created interference. The Velconian's camouflage meant nothing to a predator that hunted by emotion. One by one, the galaxy's greatest hunters fell. Then the Dreadmma found Orla and Lewis. It emerged from the synthetic jungle with a roar that shook the biodome's walls, its telepathic presence pressing against their minds, searching for fear. It found Orla's emotions instead, a roiling storm of anger, frustration, heartbreak, and the particular fury of a 17-year-old who had been pushed beyond her limit. The creature hesitated. This wasn't fear. This was something it had never encountered. Orla struck. The makeshift flamethrower, deodorant can plus lighter, sent a jet of flame directly into the Dreadmma's primary sensory organs. Lewis followed her lead, hurling his energy drink like a grenade at the creature's face while screaming obscenities. It wasn't elegant. It wasn't the product of millions of years of predatory evolution. It was two humans who had nothing left to lose and everything to prove. When the Dreadmma lunged, Orla didn't run. She dove forward using her backpack like a shield and jammed the broken edge of her phone screen protector into the soft tissue beneath its jaw, the only vulnerable spot she'd noticed when it roared. Lewis grabbed a fallen branch and began beating the creature with the desperate strength of someone operating on pure adrenaline and teenage angst. The Dreadmma, apex predator of 17 systems, had never encountered prey that fought with such chaotic, unpredictable ferocity. It tried to retreat. Orla didn't let it. 20 minutes later, the convergence chamber's screens displayed the impossible. Two human teenagers covered in alien blood and breathing hard, standing over the fallen Dreadmma. The Galactic Arbiter spoke into the stunned silence. Perhaps we underestimated Earth. Orla, still holding her makeshift weapons, looked directly into the nearest camera. Next time you summon humanity's greatest hunters, maybe schedule it for a day when we're not already completely done with everything. Imagine what we could do on a good day. Lewis, leaning against the Dreadmma's corpse, raised his crushed energy drink can in salute. Yeah, today was definitely not our best. The galaxy learned something that day. Humans might not be the strongest or fastest or most evolutionarily perfect predators in the cosmos, but they were the only species that could weaponize a bad mood, teenage spite, and whatever happened to be in their pockets. And that, the Arbiter noted in its report, made them the most terrifying hunters of all. End.